Well, hey, welcome to Coffee Tech Talk on Tuesday. My name is John Ferguson, and as always, I am here with Marty Rowe from Workbench Coffee out of Kansas City, and I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska, and we're all connected virtually on this Wi-Fi thing. How you doing, Marty?
I am doing absolutely great. Thank you for asking.
Hey, I wasn't quite sure how I was going to open today, like a cold open or like
Sure.
a warm open or a hot open. I don't know. Is that a thing? But anyway, so
Sure.
I wrote down a joke today. It was a dad joke, but it's not, I don't know if it's a dad joke. It could be like just a conversation that I was having at work today. And it was really fun because we were talking about recycling, and we all recycle at work. We want to recycle every last piece of plastic, glass, tin, and, aluminum, whatever, right? Cardboard.
Sure.
And in Lincoln, it's kind of like you could do this, you could do that. And like in Seattle, I mean, you can like just throw everything and it's just somehow magically disappears. But I've heard that it's more complicated than that. Sometimes some things don't get recycled, right? And it's just kind of gets kind of junky in there. So, but we all still do it, even though we know that it's not 100% effective. We still are habits of doing this because we know that it's a good thing to do, right?
Okay.
And so I'm thinking like, so you know it's that it's not actually happening, but you're still doing it, right? It's kind of like smoking. It's bad for you, but you still do it anyway.
Oh, now this isn't going to be true confessions, is it?
No, okay.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like this. Okay, this joke is not going as well as it was this morning. But anyway, so my question is, like, if running wasn't good for you, would you still do it? I don't know. Never mind. Okay, moving on to the next joke. How's it going?
Well, hang on. That was your joke?
I mean, it was. Can we back up and just start the episode again? I don't know. I'm working on it. Working on it. I need an audience. Right? There's something there that next week I'm going to work on that joke, and I'll come back with why do we do things even though we know that it's not good for us, or when we do things that are we think it's good for us but it actually doesn't work. But I'll tell you today. Okay, all right. This was kind of the challenge. I was trying to do some sort of segue, like clean your espresso machine. It's good for you, and no, it's good for you.
Okay.
There's no way around that. Like when you do it, it's probably going to work. It's like brushing your teeth, taking a shower, like we talked about last week, where you go to a coffee farm, and if the washing tanks look nice, or if the depulper has been cleaned, what's the result? He said, well, you get a 2-point cup score. It like increases the quality of your coffee, right? So lo and behold, today we were talking about cleaning espresso machine and equipment and stuff. So first slide. I think this is a boiler I brought down to you because I couldn't get the heating element out, right? What device did you make to pull that heating element out? Do you have that like in your back pocket?
No, I could have had that if I'd had a little bit of warning, but
I didn't think about it.
now there's a couple of reasons you couldn't get that heating element out of it. One of them was the fact that inside there it was so caked with mineral deposits, mostly calcium, but mineral deposits that it basically had it glued in there. Isn't that an awesome picture?
Yeah, like I think he used a crowbar to get that stuff out.
Well, there's
a lot of it. I mean, so how much do boilers how much are they supposed to weigh? Because that thing weighed how many more pounds than it should have? And then once we got all the stuff out, it was like 20 pounds less, 5 pounds less.
Yeah, it's rocks. I mean, it's definitely heavy. It's rocks. I'll get on my soapbox here just a little bit. And what process we did there is what we call a professional descaling. And there's no chemical, there's no acid you're going to be able to buy that's going to get that thick.
Wait a second. You're telling me that pouring vinegar into a boiler is not going to remove all of this stuff?
Vinegar has its place. In other light
in the kitchen. I heard it's in the kitchen.
It is. But there's some great products out there that are similar in acidity than vinegar and don't leave that vinegar flavor behind. But that's for thin film that you need to do. So right. Here's my soapbox. If your espresso machine has a boiler tank, not a heat module that has a capillary tube, that's a tiny little tube that gets heated up, but if it has a tank, then chances are that manufacturer does not recommend that you use a descaler product on that machine. But there's a ton of home units that have the type of heat exchangers and the type of heat generating blocks and modules that a acid or a product that will take that film off of there is very advantageous. But if you've got a tank, you're not going to get that stuff out. It'd be like trying to empty a 5-gallon bucket out by just adding water to it and having it overflow.
So I made this slide for you. So we talked about vinegar. I use the expensive stuff, the apple cider organic vinegar. Actually, it's the cheapest, most expensive stuff because it's like a no-name brand organic apple cider vinegar. I actually don't use anything. I don't clean with that.
No, I gotta ask.
Yeah.
So you've never used vinegar on your coffee pot?
I've tried that, but you know, the residual vinegar flavor, taste, and smell, it's just not gonna.
That's my complaint about it. My grandmother, she did that, and
I have used. I did use citric acid though. But it's quite a bit on even on that boiler. You got to scrape it, and that's where the pickaxe. That's what my one prepared dad joke is, to get a pickaxe or a crowbar, or even like you even recommended a drill or some sort of like a sanding
with a real
drill.
Stiff brush, sanding, something. You have to physically get that type of scale out of there,
and it's
acid it out.
And it's a small reach. Like it's a very difficult job to do. And even after you're done, there's going to be a little speck of something. You got to do the citric acid and all that stuff.
And that's where those chemicals come in.
Right.
The cleaning and descaling solution and product.
Right.
That's where they really come in, is doing the final.
So you need a pickaxe, you need some citric acid, and probably some descaling solution. And you'll be good to go. And the vinegar, you can use it on your salads and all that stuff. And I think I got that from. I visited this website, Urnex, and I heard they do some stuff. I think we have a special guest on tonight. Oh my gosh, we have to talk about that really quick. We have Maria Cleveland on the show. We didn't say that.
I love it that we've got Urnex,
and she's in the guest house or the waiting room, or I would say it's a guest house. It's more of like a guest loft, right?
It's pretty nice, you know. Yeah. I'm glad that we cater. In some food there. And,
we'll see. It's mostly just water. We're kind of on a tight budget these days.
I do have a quick story about Urnex. When I first got introduced to the competitions, and these people walking around with clipboards. Now, Urnex has always been 100% supporting member of the SEA events. They've been they're lock, stock, and barrel, very supportive over the years.
That's right.
But where I first saw the name and didn't know at the time who they were, or what they did, all the clipboards on the judges, on the back, perfectly located, was the logo of Urnex on the clipboard. You saw these all over. And I thought maybe Urnex was the certifying, judging, calculating company. You know how awards that are
maybe they could certified? Maybe they'll pick that up. Maybe they'll pick that up. Who knows?
Yeah. So I really did think that that's what they were. They were the scoring, certifying company.
Oh, I've got several aprons with the logo, with many different logos, but that's a common logo, and I've seen around. I've got bottles of this, but I don't know anything about it. I thought I did. I was like, oh, Cafiza, the end of the world. That's it. That's all you need. Cafizas, that's all you need. But I know that is not true. And we're going to talk about that.
A lot of products out there.
But I want to show you the photos that you sent me today. This is the most common thing. I see this everywhere, right? Dirty basket.
Right. Now here's the point on these baskets.
Right.
I got called not to clean these people's baskets. That's not what the call was. They had an espresso machine that was completely down. And the output after the puck extraction area, the group area, where the espresso is coming out, there's a series of tubes and some fittings, and then it comes out into the cup.
Right.
All that was completely clogged up. Well, the maintenance on that is by design. You run a cleaning cycle through it, and it uses a product that gets in there because you can't get in there physically. it uses a product that eats those oils and gets it out. And you do that daily, sometimes twice a day, depending on the how busy the shop is. But that's what does the work. So I get there, and so they asked me, hey, what can we do to keep this from happening? And I said, typically what we see here is you're either not cleaning it with the cleaner or you're cleaning it with the wrong cleaner. And so they say, oh, we clean it every day. Here's what we use. And they bring out a product, and it was not the manufacturer's product. It was an espresso machine cleaner.
Right.
But it wasn't what was recommended. So
it wasn't quite doing the job, right? Yep.
Well, I didn't know at that point.
Right.
I'm shooting from the hip a little bit from experience. So I said, let's do an experiment. And so we gathered up a little bit of stuff of the manufacturer's stuff. And so we were able to do a side by side. And I said, let's just see which product works, because you really need this to work, because you can't get in there and clean it. It needs to do the work for you. Right. So I sit there. This picture is their cleaners on the left.
Oh, okay. So this is, I thought this was just the, okay. This is great. So you've got their cleaner on the left, and then on the right, you've got
and I've got the manufacturer's recommended cleaner. There's a lot of cleaners out there. Some work, some don't.
Right.
Some work great for certain applications.
Right.
If you misuse it for the application, it may not work for your application.
And so I've got the next one.
Before you do that, let me preface it with this.
Okay.
We just let these sit on the counter. They just sat there. We didn't scrape them. We didn't brush them. I took them and I sloshed them around at the end of letting them soak after I fixed the machines.
Right.
And I dumped them out in the drain. And then I turned it around and I showed them what we're about to.
How long did you let this soak for? Because sometimes they recommend like overnight or 3 hours or depending, right?
I would say probably, if I was being a little dramatic with everything, it's probably 20 minutes, somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes.
Hey, guess what? Do you know who we could ask? Maria. Like in seconds from now, we're gonna know all of these questions, and we're just kind of like,
gonna bring in the.
She's like, well, you're kind of right, but but this is the photo.
Yeah.
So on the left, it looks like nothing happened. On the right, absolutely worked. Right.
Absolutely.
And it was the same amount of time that was soaking, the same temperature of water, everything was the same except for in the same amount of water, probably close to
exactly same amount of cleaning product, same amount of water, same amount of time, same amount of agitation, all as best we could do.
Right. No, same angle. Did you put it on a scale and weigh it and like to the thousandth of a tenth of a gram?
We're going down a rabbit hole there. So
well, that's too much science. But we're going to learn something today, and I'm ready. Let's jump right in. Let's bring Maria onto the show. Maria, yes. There we go. All right. Hey, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Hey guys, what's going on?
Not much.
We're just talking cleaning.
We're just trying to figure out how to clean stuff.
I saw that brew basket. That happens all the time. That's a day in the life of an account manager in the specialty coffee industry, or
so what do you think of that?
Yeah.
What I think that is all I'll call that is a lack of knowledge, lack of training, right?
You said you've seen this all the time and around. So how long have you been with Urnex and have seen this kind of
So
stuff?
I've been with Urnex for about 4 years now, but been in the industry since the early 90s, so over 25 years. And let's face it, coffee oils are aggressive and they like to cling to things, and they go rancid. So you just gotta stay on it and use the right products and the right frequency, and you're not going to have that problem.
And so when did you meet Marty here? Because Marty's kind of also like a pretty famous guy in the industry, and it seems like when we heard that you were coming on to the show, Marty's like just smiled for an entire week, if not month, about how excited we were to have you on the show. And then also like on Instagram, Facebook, everybody's like, oh my gosh, I don't know, you seem to be very loved in the industry, so good job.
Good job. Didn't burn too many bridges. Helped a couple people here and there.
No, right. How did you guys meet, Marty? Do you guys remember? Or?
Well, it was SEA events, and competitions is around the coffee scene stuff.
You got it. Yeah,
And
exactly.
I probably
Competitions.
seen you around too, everywhere. So that's like something that you definitely get to travel a little bit and spread the word. But also, I heard that well, I've seen you with the clipboard
Oh yeah.
competitions. So
Competitions, sure.
you've been doing that?
Yeah, so you know, I've been in the industry for a long time, but it's interesting, you know, I started off with Starbucks, you know, in the early 90s. I drank Diet Coke in the morning. I didn't know anything, right? And
Well, hey, I have to admit, last year I was drinking a lot of diet products like Diet
Yeah.
Pepsi, but I
Sure,
kind of cut it out this year. So I mean,
yeah, yeah.
but I still don't know anything.
Yeah, but you know, over the years, you know, when you start in the early 90s, as long as your shot of espresso is between 18 and 23 seconds, you know, it was fine. You know, years later, when the competitions began, I'm like, wow, there's a lot I do not know. So I would say probably about 2007, I started to volunteer for the barista competitions as a means of just getting better, becoming a better coffee professional. And I became a tech judge because you can get, you know, if you're a little AR, you know, you can get all of those tendencies out of you.
That's cool. I've done tech judging too a couple times, and you know, I took a long break, came back to it, and the protocol had changed. And I'm wondering, what's your view on that? Like, have you played any sort of role on the maintenance of espresso machine maintenance in between, you know, sessions, or is that kind of set by the SCA or
You mean in
competitions?
between when one competitor competes and then the next?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just back flushing the equipment and making
Just
sure
standard.
it's ready to roll. Yeah.
But you need to do that, right?
You got to, right? You know, if
Yeah.
there's if especially in competition, if there's like a, you know, a smudge on the machine, you know, you're going down a bit.
Fingerprint. You can stop the show and say like, there's a fingerprint. Stop the show, right?
But
Well,
yeah, there you go.
yeah. Well, so I've got this like pretty awesome presentation that I put together that I got from you. It was really hard. I had to push copy and paste. All right. And I had to get PowerPoint and then have to push a button. So yeah, and I was like, this is great. This is like one of the easiest weeks I've had because there's just a load of information here. And would you be able to, I mean, do you mind if we just kind of jump into the technical aspects of this stuff, because let's go. So what is this slide about?
So
and just tell me to move along.
That's all right. So what is that? What do you guys think that is? What is that? That's a dispersion screen, isn't it?
Yes.
That looks like the end of a muffler. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, not really.
But that one's pretty clogged. And Marty, you know, you were asking me what was one of my favorite stories is years ago, I was rolling out a chain of hotels coast to coast. I was on the East Coast team. I got the short end of the stick. And we showed up one Sunday, and the next morning we had to start at 6 o'clock in the morning, swapping out all the equipment. We go to look at the espresso machine. And
hotel, right?
At a hotel. The chain will go nameless. And the screens were so clogged that we couldn't even clean them with espresso machine cleaner, that I had asked the pastry chef if he did creme brulee, because then I took the screen off, and I had to burn the coffee off of it, or else, there was no way we would have been able to train the staff. But
oh my gosh. Can I tell you about my dirtiest screen story? It was in Minneapolis, and Barack Obama was coming to town, and he was going to eat at this restaurant. And I was called in to clean the machine before they hosted Barack Obama. So I go to the espresso machine. I take the screens off. There's like these little green peaks of mold and mildew and stuff like that. And I'm like, I turn around, I'm like, you've got to do better than this. It seemed dangerous. Yeah. And then I heard on NPR or something like that, or some other news channel, about the dirtiest place in your kitchen is in your coffee pot or something like that, because it's the most often overlooked thing. So, I mean, it hits like beverage quality, food safety, equipment reliability.
That's it. That's it. You know, it's, you know, it does start with the quality though, but that, you know, those coffee oils, those go rancid. Just like, you know, if you're buying a nice olive oil, but you're leaving it open on your counter in the sunlight, it's going to be oxidized. The same thing with coffee oils is that oxidation. But you're absolutely right in terms of, you know, the bacterial growth that can happen, you know, inside home machines, as well as you can get bacterial growth if there's standing water in the reservoir. But then also reliability, right? You know, from a consumer perspective, you know, hey, say somebody gives you a nice espresso machine or a nice coffee brewer, you know, for Christmas or for what have you, for your birthday, and you don't maintain it, then, you know, 6 months later, you're going to start having the coffee not taste as good. And I've always found people don't think, oh, it's my fault. They always blame the coffee, right?
Yeah, yeah. Or the water.
Yeah.
But you have this like for cleaning. Well, yeah. What's this about?
So this is talking about the 4 key fundamentals of getting any piece of coffee equipment clean. Okay. Years ago, there was 4 fundamentals of brewing coffee, but now I think there's 7. But cleaning, we've kept it nice and easy with 4. Okay, so temperature is important, and you want the water as hot as possible, right? So if you're cleaning a coffee server, it's always best to use the hot water from the brewer. Okay. Then the length of time that you need to leave it with solution depends, of course, on how dirty it is. But then also, so the dirtier it is, you know, the longer you're going to need to leave the solution. Agitation, which is, we all know, that's scrubbing. Nobody wants to scrub. And then formula, like what is the proportion of cleaner to water, right? So taking into consideration, those are the 4, you know, your 4 factors that you're working with. So, right. And, you know, we've got powder, you know, so say Urn & Brewer cleaning, something that's going to clean your coffee machine. We have it in a powder format, nice and inexpensive, right? We have tablets, we've got liquids, and then capsules. So, you know, for each and every type of application, we've got ways that, you know, the consumer, to make it super easy.
Hey, I've got a habit that I've developed that I give suggestions to people who want to, you know, actually clean their brew baskets, and I tried to find an easy way of doing it. I think I'm probably doing it not optimal, but it kind of works. But I usually take okay, you're going to love this because this is going to be a great transition, Marty. You're going to like this one. Maybe. I don't know. Okay. I got some Cafiza. I take a little scoop of it.
Okay. I like it so far.
And I throw it into the brew basket. It's empty. Put it into the brewer, maybe like a bun brewer, big one. And I just push brew. Okay. And it brews it into the air pot too. That's empty. Obviously no coffee in there. And and like, it kind of just does its thing, but like, is that how you do that? Am I giving good recommendation, or is there something better I could do?
That's a decent recommendation. Let's put it this way. It's better than not doing anything, right?
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah. You know, I've got a lot of friends that nuke everything with Cafiza, right? And right, that's fine. You know,
I do it. That's why we're having the show. How could I do it better?
Right. But that, you know, I'd say I'd rather have, you know, you clean a coffee server, the brew basket, the air pot, you know, with Cafiza or Puro or BioCaf, than not doing anything. One improvement to what you're doing there is put a filter in there, and it's going to slow down the contact time with the brew basket.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't think about that. Okay.
Yeah. Now a reason that you may want to consider like a tabs or Urn & Brewer cleaner versus the Cafiza or the espresso machine cleaner is specifically those formulations that are detergents for cleaning an espresso machine are super foamy. They're very thick. They're very viscous. What is that for? That is to ensure that when you're back flushing up into you're back flushing the machine, that it gets all the way to the 3-way valve, that the detergent is clinging to than the oils that are, on the screen, in the brew basket, that they're clinging to do their job. Okay. But they're very viscous,
Mhm.
and it requires a lot of, and foamy, very, very foamy as well. So that requires a great deal of rinsing, right?
And there's a lot of agitation when you're using an espresso machine versus a brewer too. So
You
it's like
got it. Yeah.
you talked about what you mentioned on this last slide, agitation. So there's
Yeah.
definitely a difference between pressurized water and just gravity. And I think we've got a question from above, Dietrich, our show manager, producer guy.
I had
What do you got?
to chime in. Hello from above. Yeah, one of the first experiences that I have had in the coffee world as a barista was the clean the air pots with Kafiza by throwing the Kafiza in the pot,
Right.
or in the pot and brewing it.
Right.
And I clicked brew, turned around, and about after it was finished brewing, I had a very clean floor.
Right? You got to remember
And
the
I
air pot
think that,
underneath there.
yeah, so that was the first lesson I got to learn was brew it on a half pot.
Well, I just
or a
love it
quarter
because
pot.
I just like it because it's like 2 for 1. I mean, yes, there might be a little bit of water left over if you do like a full pot and you're not calibrated right with the water volume, but you get 2 for 1. You get the basket and the
Yeah.
and the air pot. And
Yeah.
how often should you do that? Like recommendation wise, if you're brewing batches every day, is it once a
you're
week or?
Okay. So in terms of cleaning a coffee server or brew basket or whatever, if you do it every day, then you avoid the needing to scrub, the needing to have it sit in the server for quite a long time. If you're using a tablet or an urn brewer cleaner, this is 2 cents, right? So you're also saving time. You're saving money, right? If you think about the labor savings of your baristas not having to scrub or what have you.
Yeah.
So when done on a daily basis, you need to leave the cleaner in there for 10 minutes at the most, right?
Okay,
You
yeah.
empty it out, you rinse with hot water, and actually you can use the hot water off of the brewer. And as your rinse, you could leave that hot water in the server, which is then preheating for the next morning. All the team's got to do is then let it go, and
Or you could wash this once a year, and then you could dose out these little black carbon like chunks to people's coffee.
right.
And then at the end of the year, you can clean your pots for 24 hours and then scrub it down. But I would say that I've seen it before.
John,
There's an easy solution. It costs 2 cents a day.
can you back up a screen there, John?
Yeah, this one, agitation.
Okay, there's a 5th one, and it's for what John was talking about, Maria,
Yeah.
about waiting that year to do this.
Yeah.
And that 5th one is call your tech to do it, because
Ooh,
it's going to be so
yeah.
bad that it's
Yeah.
going to be difficult to do.
And-
And we get those. Now, let me add one
Yeah,
more thing. We get this all the time. Maria, I'm hoping this is a softball for you, because
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard this. We get it all the time.
It will be. Look at the slides coming up. It'll probably be a softball for.
The argument that, hang on, you're unseasoning my coffee equipment. It needs to be seasoned with coffee
Hmm.
to taste right. So what
Hmm.
do you say about that?
Oh, I don't know.
I think that says a lot
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, I don't know. They just like their coffee tasting ashy. That's cool. Every
Seasoned.
bean's got a
Yeah.
home. Every bean's got a home.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right,
So
right.
talk about hard balls, I guess. Like this is a I don't even know how to say that word, but I do. But could you
A
introduce us to
surfactant.
this?
Yeah, yeah. So if you can kind of click through, it'll show the magic of a surfactant. Okay. All right. So it's pretty exciting. This is chemistry, right?
I love that.
Yeah. So one part of it loves the water. The other part of the surfactant loves the oil. So really what that's doing is when you're cleaning, you are putting the oil into solution so that it can be washed away, right? And so therefore, the thicker the oily substances, or how much then there is oil and also sediment on the brew basket or the disperse, wherever, you may need to clean a couple times or let it sit longer. But isn't that fun? Now it's just washing it away.
What does tenside mean? Or tensit? Or
That is another word for surfactant.
Same thing. Okay. I love it. So we have milk system cleaning, and
Yeah,
this is
we're
an
not
interesting
just
slide.
cleaning. We're not just cleaning espresso. There's a lot of stuff to clean in a cafe.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we've got some products, Rinza, right? It's the blue liquid, right?
Right.
And so I wanted to go through talking about cleaning milk systems, be it a steam wand or a super automatic. So if you kind of click through, okay, what is milk made up of? It's made up of three things. It's got protein for strong bones, right? It's got fat to make it taste yummy, and then the minerals, right? Okay, so those are the three components. So if you click a little bit further, okay, so we've got our first formulation that we developed many years ago was an alkaline formulation. And so what that does is it does break down the milk fat. Click a little further. It does break down the protein, boom. But unfortunately, we are left with the mineral component. So, so if you'll push forth, I'll then explain then the acid formulation. Okay, so we've got it. Okay, so we've got an acid formulation that uses the surfactant, right? Going back to putting that fat into solution that then cleans away. You can click a little further. Then then the acid breaks down the protein and the minerals.
Also the minerals.
Right.
Okay.
So what I wanted to talk about there is that your equipment manufacturer, particularly if you have a super automatic, has gone through a great deal of vetting of the right formulation for their milk systems. So particularly one-step automatics, super automatic espresso machines, or even home machines, right? You may have a Jura or a Seiko or a DeLonghi or what have you. It's important that you make sure that you're using the right formulations so that you're cleaning it out properly. And also, if you're using a conventional espresso machine,
right,
and you want to clean your steam wand, your best bet is to use an acid formula, because what's the problem there? You're getting a mineral buildup inside the steam wand because the steam is adhering, is causing that stone to stay inside.
To develop up there.
Okay.
And so I'm going to click through this. This is a really great slide. There's a couple steps, and I wish, I guess it's hard to control from two different ways. So I'm going to just kind of click through.
Yeah.
I think most of these. Tell me when to stop clicking.
Okay. There we go.
Right here.
Go back one. Go back one.
There we
All right.
go.
Okay.
How's
So
that?
this is a great way to explain to your customer, if you're a tech, why the heck they need good filtration, right? Because you've got water coming in, and you've got water going out. If you click a little further, and you've got your heating element that's working. Okay, I'm going to click one more. And okay, so if you've got hard water that has not been properly filtered, you're going to then have that calcification on the temperature sensor, the liquid fill probe, or the heating element. So what are the problems that we're going to have there? Okay, so even with a home machine, you want to descale your home machine, right? Because you want the temperature to be at the highest the highest point possible, hopefully,
right.
200 degrees. But then additionally, if you've got that scale buildup on the heating element has to work harder, and it's going to fail faster. The other problem too is if the fill level probe gets calcified, you're gonna have a flood on your hands. So.
And then I think we have. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's some good stuff. That's the stuff we dug out. That's the stuff that 20 pounds of rocks that come out of there. Right. And then you have I see this all the time too, Marty. Like, and I know that it's also caused by having the right composition of water going into your machine. But even if you have the right level of water, purification, like an RO, and then you add a little bit of mineral back into it, that little bit of mineral back into it, would that build up over time? Or Marty, what do you,
it does build up over time, but here's the deal. This this collection or whatever you're calling it is kind of what's called a precipitation process. If you keep the concentration of these minerals down, that process of minerals sticking to things becomes a lot less, dramatically lower. Even though we still need the minerals in there, if you can keep them below their I don't think this is the correct term, but it's a Martyism. If you keep them below their precipitation level, in other words, keep them at the levels that we all in the industry agree to and have learned, that they'll flow on through in the water.
Well, we've got a lot of great slides coming up. So I love this one. I see this around that film. What is it says scale buildup causing lost revenue, of course. Let's chat about this. What is DesCal Pro?
Okay, so we've got a couple different formulations, and you had said citric acid, right? Our standard DesCal, and then also some of the home consumer versions of Descaler are mostly citric acid based, but the professional or the technical formulation does have some sulfamic acid added to it. So it is a hotter acid. And it'll work faster, right? And it's going to work until it's not bubbling anymore. So those will be helpful for technicians in terms of going a little bit quicker.
And you have we kind of talked a little bit about this slide that came up then is to be proactive when you see dirty equipment. I think
that's my thing with technicians. You've got some, if you're newer in the industry, you're going to go into an account and everything's super dirty and you feel sheepish, like, oh, I don't want to bring it up. Like, hey, if you really think about it, you're helping your customer to be in business longer, right? If the coffee tastes good, or if you're helping them present a better product, the likelihood of their sales increasing or them not losing customers increases. And then also you're having a situation where you're adding value. You're showing your customer how professional you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh. From the technician's viewpoint, if you have this mental mindset that you're partnering with them, that'll come across, and they will realize that you really are helping them, and they don't want their equipment to fail. And so, if you can give them the tips and tricks of how to easily keep their machine running and not have to pay you as a technician to do that, they do appreciate it.
Hey, Marty.
Absolutely.
Hey, did you get my portafilters? Is that the picture of the portafilter I sent to you in the mail today? Did you get it? I sent you those portafilters. Did you get them?
I did. I
told you they were dirty, and I wasn't going to clean them.
I don't know how
you got to put in the work on that one.
No,
they'll
clean up. They'll clean up fine.
Yeah, they'll clean up fine. How do you use Cafesa to clean up portafilters? Is that the best method there, Maria?
I would be soaking those. The portafilter on the left there, you're going to make a solution of maybe 6 grams or two good scoops. One of those scoops that are on the end of the espresso machine brush.
Yeah.
That'll be about 6 grams, and but you don't want to soak anything beyond the metal, right? We want to just
because it loosens up the rubber handle, or could kind of like absorb into the wood.
Yeah.
But
and you're using hot water too, right? Like boiling water.
Super hot water, and that one looks like it's going to need a green scrubby pad. So one of my favorites is, you cut up a green scrubby pad.
Yep.
And you get in there. We also have a little tool called the scrubs that, if you're worried about your manicure.
Now shops can't do this. What Maria's got great instructions for shop owners now to
That's
do
right.
that. Here in the shop, we have a drill press with a wire brush on it.
Yeah. Okay, so that's not a recommendation for anybody except for if you're a professional technician like Marty.
Right.
And I have a clamp too, but I'm like, no, because that thing can like whip out. I've come close to hurting myself, but Marty, you're exactly right.
If you need Marty's drill press to clean out your portafilter, you're not cleaning it often enough.
Yeah, you'll make that double basket into a triple basket, right? Drill out some of that metal.
We'll make it bottomless for you.
Yeah, that's right. They'll just take it right off.
Exactly.
So, hey, John, I saw earlier you had the crowbar for getting that scale build out. One of the things I would be concerned about if you're using, a chisel or any metal implement in, in a boiler to get scale out is that you may
You could damage
nick
stuff.
the stainless steel,
Oh, you're
which
right.
then
Absolutely.
leaves an opening that you're going to have,
Well, Maria, that's a
perhaps
great
a
point.
leak over time.
That's a great point. I mean, that's stainless steel and it's pretty heavy on a La Marzocco, but some of them are copper, right? Marty, like, I mean, would
Oh,
you
yeah.
take a crowbar to that kind of,
No, you
I mean, that's where
definitely,
it gets a little dangerous, right?
that's
a great
that
point.
sort of descaling where you're physically getting that out, that's probably not your consumer or even your prosumer person doing that. That's not what I would recommend without some guidance.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's get back to the slide here. That Rinsa, I've never used it. I've seen it,
Mhm.
and I'd like to know more about it.
Okay.
And it's awesome that it's there. What's that?
Well,
used
there
for?
you have it. There you have it. So that was what I was talking about with that milk system cleaning, right? Either being a steam wand or, if you think about a quote unquote two-step automatic, which is a steam wand that has a probe in it that tells the machine, oh, it's 160, turn off, right? Those I would use our acid-based formula, right? Because you need to make sure that you're getting the milk stone out from inside that steam wand, because that could be what's causing the blockage, right? And then additionally, there you go. This is a super automatic espresso machine that hasn't been cleaned, and that green is that's bacteria. That is not a glow.
That's not the
necklace.
cleaning solution.
No, that's not a glow necklace from a Burning Man.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
install those in an espresso machine.
So there you have it.
And then we have batch brewers with different products here: a boiler descaling, surface cleaning, and then filter basket and server cleaning. So that the tabs there, those are I guess the tablet form of. And
I mean, our company's been around since a long time, 1936, right? And and you'd be surprised. The little packet, the brown package of Vernon Brewer cleaner looks a lot like it did way back when, right? So that was what the bill,
Are you sure they just didn't make like a bunch of them and put a shelf life of 100 years on it and just be like, you're still selling the same? That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know it's that old. Like that's a long time.
That's a long time. And one of the things in terms of using then a batch, cleaner versus Cafiza also is these are dyed blue to indicate that there's cleaner in there. So you're not accidentally taking a big swig of cleaner as well.
Okay.
But there you have it.
And then we're talking about, is this mostly dedicated to, I see a super automatic espresso machine, but the bean hopper cleaning, that's kind of neat because hoppers are a little tricky to that oil, especially if you got a darker roast.
That's right.
Is that like what it's just kind of designed to do to wipe that stuff clean?
We have a Cafe Sprays, which is a all plant-based formula that is amazing at clearing away those coffee oils. It's also great, for that area above the brew basket that might get super oily as well. Also for midday back flush, you can give the machine a little and use that as well. And we have a
How'd that go, Maria? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's professional.
Yeah, this slide's professional and very technical.
Yeah.
Here. This is good.
So
what is
the
this
reason
about?
that I wanted to show this is getting back to what Marty was talking about earlier is you've got a manufacturer's relationships, and we do we have OEM relationships with manufacturers all over the world, and we are co-developing cleaners, be it different formulas, different sizes of and shapes of and weights of the tablets that correspond to the cleaning cycle of those different machines. And so that is why it is super important to be using the right tablet. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what does ELM or E or EPQ?
That's
mean?
different formulations. That's our shorthand for different formulations.
Excellent. And then we got the traditional espresso machine, and these are
You
the
got it.
products that can be used here.
You got it. You
The
got
grinder cleaning, there you go. I've got some of that. I
Yeah.
like that yellow.
So, yeah, it
And
grinds.
yep, the grinds. Got
I bet, you know, you can
and it
eat
works
them.
for
You can eat
really.
them. I'm not gonna eat this one today. I have consumed one. It's pharmaceutical grade binders and cereals, right?
Well, okay, so that's a really good question I wanted to bring up is like how much of this is safe to accidentally consume, and what is your recommendation if, let's say, you pour some Cafiza into some coffee and you served it and you kind of freak out a bit, like, oh, one of my someone did it, and
Yeah.
are you going to get sick, or
Yeah, you might get a stomach ache. None of these things at that concentration are going to be in a situation where you're.
so you're not going to be
Going-
calling the hospital
No,
anytime soon or anything like
No,
that?
no.
And
It's like
I kind of
it's like washing your mouth out with soap, right? When
Yeah.
you're saying some naughty words.
And I was kind of like doing some research on this, and I'm probably pretty way far off, but it had something to do with like the products of what were in toothpaste and baking soda, it seems like there were a lot of basic elements that then were constructed into something a little bit more complex and balanced to really push through that cleaning. Are those some basic elements that are to a lot of cleaning products that are used in espresso cleaning stuff too, or like
Are you asking about baking soda?
yeah, what is that
Or
called?
some of those components? I don't know what the
Yeah,
Na2 what have
Yeah.
you. But that effervescent nature is
yeah.
some of the components.
But
Yeah.
but I after reading up on it, I was no longer fearful, but just cautious. Like, it's not going to kill you,
No.
but just don't drink the sanitation liquid on the bottom right hand corner.
Yeah.
If it's green, let it be.
Yeah.
Right? Just don't.
Yeah.
Just don't do that. And so you
Uh,
got some BioCaf too. This is kind of I saw it kind of refers to a more organic composition, like, and I
Yeah.
mean safe, natural, something.
Yeah, those are all natural formulas, phosphate free, which is really not so great for the water table. But hey, I wanted to go back to the
Yeah.
grinder cleaning. I have a debate with a friend who's a technician. It's like, oh well, using the grinds, it's not as good as taking the grinder apart. But okay, how long does it take to take a grinder apart?
2.5 hours on a K30.
2.5 hours. That's right. Yeah.
Well, to do it right, I mean, Marty, you could
right.
probably do it in 30
Well,
seconds.
you're going all the way through it.
That's right.
But I will say
that
that it's not easy though. Like if you
right.
if you tear apart a K30 and you've never done it before, ever, and it can get messy real quick.
and you can mess stuff up.
That's right.
Oh, I have, and it's easy
Yeah.
to do that. And it took
Mi-
about 3 or 4 of them to not do that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mis-
what does it
misthreading.
do? What does it do then?
Okay,
Like,
so what the grinds is doing is it is clearing out the oils and the fines from the burr set, and in doing so, it reduces the temperature of the burr set, therefore extending the life of the burrs. So over time, you're saving time and money. Yeah. So.
well, I'd like to talk a little bit about also home use and whatnot, because
Sure.
we didn't really talk about that. Like, a lot of people that might be watching the show have a home coffee maker, like simple thing, or
Yeah.
or even like I have a water kettle that's got
Yeah.
a bunch of calcium on the bottom of it.
That's
I
right.
have not figured out. I've tried a little Cafiza. I'm not sure if I'm using enough, or maybe I should try not putting Cafiza on everything for anything. But what's the best way to clean your? I know that there's probably a lot of recommendations too, like each unit,
Sure.
Marty, or if you
Yeah.
guys got.
So,
What's the home?
for a kettle, you can use our descaling packets. We have consumer sizes, like a little 1 ounce packet of powder. We also have liquids, which are those citric acid based descalers, right? So those are good for your kettles or the inside of your coffee brewer that's got a heating element that just just a smaller version of those consumer ones, that you want to take that scale off of the heating element so that it can get to that nice 200 degrees, or for a home machine, right, it's getting as hot as possible to so much of that great flavor from the coffee comes from the water soluble oils on the beans. And, we know that that temperature is a big component. So that's the first thing. And then cleaning the server, right? We've got liquids, we've got powders as well, then for, the brew basket or then the server as well.
Yeah, I think we've got a question from the audience. Dietrich, what do we got?
Yeah, well, I got a question on my end as well. Okay. I mean, I for those people out there who do have a home espresso machine and a grinder at home, that is, commercial grade or of coffee shop grade, how often are you looking at cleaning out a grinder at home that's being used, maybe 3 or 4 times at most in a day? Same thing with an espresso machine. Is that I mean, in most shops you do that on a daily basis, but when you're only
that's a
going
great
through
question,
so
Dietrich.
much.
Like if you're just pulling like one shot on your espresso machine a day, do you clean it every time you use it? Or how often do you recommend, like, how do you?
I would say at least once a week. I would back flush with water, do a quick back flush with water, to get as much of the oil out of your home espresso machine. But then once a week, if you're brewing every day and you're buying nice coffee, you want it to taste good. And then for your grinder, I would say, if you're, maybe grinding a pound a week or what have you, once a quarter is fine. If you've got a Baratza at home. The other thing is that I think a lot of home consumers aren't thinking about cleaning their hopper, right? I've gone to, a lot of, even I went to, stay with a family member recently, and the hopper was just like oil city, right? So it just, just give it a little wipe,
Yeah, just take it off and, wash it up.
Yeah, or they can also soak it with the cleaner that they would use for their coffee brewer. I just wouldn't leave it, 2 days in that solution, but you could certainly soak that hopper.
Well, I can't believe that we haven't had a lot of people call in or write in or text in on the grinds on the alternative of using rice. And Maria, tell me if I'm thinking this through wrongly. There probably is a rice product that you can buy out there that might do a pretty decent job of knocking some of that out. But my problem with that is rice is not designed for this. And you might get a soft rice, a hard rice. You there's no control over that in that application. So you might actually get a rice product that does more harm than good.
Do you know what goes good with rice every once in a while? Vinegar.
Vinegar, and
right?
Marty, pepper.
Marty, I would tell you, you are better off not cleaning your grinder at all if you're going to use rice. Okay, that is going to be more likely to clog your grinder than not doing anything.
I like that.
Well, hey, Marty, we're and Maria, we are almost at the end of our hour, but we haven't even kind of talked about the questions that Marty's going to bring up. All this, we're gonna hand this over to you, Marty. Question session.
Well, she already
launched. There you go.
Already answered my one, a good story, coffee story. If you got more to add to that, I would appreciate that, because we've got so many good SCA stories out there. Some of them we can't tell on each other. We just kind of know. It's like that inside joke. So I can appreciate that. But do you have a special moment in your coffee cleaning career that's actually kind of just a nice, heartwarming?
And you can even take it back to, you said 18 years, right? You've been in the coffee industry. So
it's going a ways back. Well, I was talking to a couple friends recently about, and they're wholesale, they sell coffee wholesale and they're doing account management and I, over the years, I have had the great fortune of calling on some amazing chefs, some of the, world's, best restaurateurs. And there's one that I wasn't, they weren't my responsibility anymore, but they're all my friends. Right. And I was eating at the bar at one of these restaurants in Las Vegas with one of my colleagues after a trade show. It was about 3 years ago. And we had been there a couple hours He had a couple beverages and some oysters and things of that nature. It was getting time for dessert, and they're like, "Hey, Maria, our espresso machine in the back, there's something wrong with the steam wand. Do you mind coming to take a look at it?" And I'm like, "All right, sure, whatever." So I go back. There's nothing wrong with the steam wand. It was clogged, right?
Yeah.
So it's a simple fix. And then because I was there, I had to pull out the brew basket to look in it.
Well,
And-
sure.
And it was as dark as night,
Oh,
so
yeah.
this is, and so that I just bring it up that, folks do fall into bad habits, right? You can train them, to do the pinnacle of quality, right? But then there can be turnover. And I think that it just,
Yep.
it behooves us, and we are beholden to our customers to always be there to support them. And yes, Dietrich, you're raising your hand.
Yes, we got another question from above there.
Okay, yeah,
What do
this
you got?
question was actually texted to me. But
Wow, he's getting texts.
yeah,
Wow.
how
I get-
often would you clean a boiler or descale a boiler if a soft water RO system with trace mineral filter is being utilized on it? Is that with that soft water attachment, is that something that you're going to have to clean a little less often, or is it still the same regular cleaning schedule?
Well, that's a good question, and I'm surprised someone that
Well,
And
texted
straight
that
RO
to
water
me.
is more acidic than tap and can be corrosive.
This is true. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would not ever recommend straight RO for any coffee
Yeah.
consumption, both in taste and equipment.
How about
it'll heat up your
distilled
equipment,
water?
And that's basically the same. Distilled.
Okay.
Distilled
and
water, it
RO.
doesn't give, your coffee has nothing to cling to.
Exactly.
Now that
In
being
terms
said,
of how, go ahead, Marty.
that being said, people will go, "Oh, a lot of shops have RO." Yes, they have RO water, but they're blending back in some way, shape, or form a controlled amount of minerals back into it, so it's not aggressive.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Maria.
Yeah, in terms of how often to descale the machine, I mean, it just depends on how many grains of hardness you've got. And I think that maybe for the first year, every 6 months, they drain the boiler and see what's going on, but it's hard to say, not knowing, how many grains of hardness is in that water.
Yeah, if they can inspect that, if they get some kind of visual on that, they can kind of get an idea what kind of scale buildup
Yeah.
is happening there, and get a
So-
baseline on that, because every location is different. Every water makeup and how
Yeah.
much water you run through it, and
Yeah.
it all varies way too much.
And then to follow up as well, if somebody were to be, sitting at home and they're like, well, I haven't really checked out cleaning out my espresso machine or my espresso equipment, should they contact a technician first, or should they try to do it at home first? And if they're trying to do it at home, what's the best guide or instruction? Should they just look up something on YouTube, or what would be the best way of approaching that?
There we go.
There you go. I was about ready to click that button. I was like, how do you get in touch with Maria? Where do we go?
This
And-
is
yeah.
that phone number there. That is my bat phone. And so just consider me your coffee doctor. Feel free to text me, send me a note, or you can go to our website, urnex.com. We've got videos, we've got written guides on how to use all the products, but also there are no silly questions. It's what I'm here to do is to help. I like to say to my friends that are roasters and my friends that are coffee producers, we block and tackle for you so that the coffee tastes like it should.
Nice.
Oh,
And
that's
do you
great.
have a YouTube channel? Is that right? Or something online that has a lot of videos, right? Is that
Yes, we do. Yeah,
Okay.
Urnex, we definitely got a YouTube channel as well.
So it's
Yeah.
pretty easy to find that too. So awesome. Well, I think that kind of wraps up our show, or it's exactly an hour. Is there anything else you want to do before we end this show tonight, Marty, Maria,
Yeah,
Dietrich?
Chad, any
Anything
last
else?
questions? You can get them in now, but other than that, I think you guys can wrap up the show.
That's it. Okay, we're going to do the outro, is what Dietrich calls it.
We
So,
have
how do you get in
thanked
touch with
everybody.
us all? My name is John Ferguson. I'm the host of Coffee Tech Talk, and here with Marty Rowe, who's co-hosting / hosting or whatever. You know, someone's got to come first. Okay, and you can touch with me at coffeetechtalkcentral@gmail.com or call me. I'm not going to give out my phone number anymore. No one's calling me anyway. Marty, how do we get in touch with you?
Workbenchcoffeelabs.com. Find us. We're in Kansas City, and we're there for you. We've been doing this a long time, and be looking out for our online. And then next step would be back face to face.
Oh, and I want to make one more
classes.
point.
Sure.
One more point here is that if you subscribe to this YouTube channel, and if you've been watching this entire episode and you're still on it and you haven't subscribed yet, I suggest that you subscribe, because then the next time we do one of these, you'll be automatically just alerted that, hey, Coffee Tech Talk is live going, and you'll be able to stay connected with us and enjoy more special guests like Maria. And Maria, thank you so much for being here today,
Absolutely,
tonight.
Maria. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I guess we already know how to get in touch with you. So good night. And thank you, everybody. Thanks, Dietrich. Bye, everybody.
Guys.
And